Cherry and Peesh, you've just recently written a song, and is it the subject of loan sharks?
Yeah, we were asked to write a song for the government campaign Stop Loan Sharks, and so our song is called Loan Shark, and it's really about giving people the opportunity to think about different ways when they're really, really struggling, because there's just this vulnerability of people literally circling around and knowing when people are really struggling. And so we kind of wrote about that experience of how people are just taken advantage of, and it often feels like they've got nowhere to go, so they don't know who to speak to, where to go to get help. So we're kind of helping to promote that a little bit with a catchy song, and all about, saying, there's credit unions, there's other places, and also to feel safe enough to actually phone up and report somebody that's doing that.
Because loan sharks, let's go to the bottom line, they're really bad news, aren't they?
Yeah, absolutely. Bev, you've experienced financial difficulties and things such as loan sharks, and
Yeah, and I think it really is just about giving people that choice and knowing that they can make decisions. They don't have to necessarily go down that route, so there's other options around there. But yeah, it's a really catchy song that we just write loads. We get inspiration when we're asked to write something. We're very good. We go like this. So we write the words together. Peesh writes the music and plays the guitar as
Especially
well.
on this track in particular, it was mainly Bev's lyrics for this one, because she was had more experience of this sort of subject, so I was happy just to write the tune for it. And it is an uplifting, catchy, so it hits the point, people can, it's very accessible, isn't it, as a song. It's catchy and, but with an important, serious message as well.
Was it easy to write?
Very.
Musically as well, we were just, it's the first time we've been asked on the spot, can you write particularly about this? And we said, yeah, sure, because normally we write about our own experiences, but now we say, can you write about this? And as I said, Bev's very qualified in that field, so it came together really quickly, didn't it? Very, very, probably one of the quickest and easiest songs we've ever written, to be honest, which is nice.
Because you used the subject, it's loan sharks, but when you said hovering, sometimes I guess it could be loan vultures, couldn't it?
Yeah. I mean, there's Sid the Shark. He goes around, raising that campaign and talking about it.
We haven't met him yet.
No, we haven't. We want to meet Sid. Yeah.
So, a more general point, you're as music artists. How did you both of you meet, and how did it come about?
We met August 2016.
16, I know.
Yes, on a punk tour bus. Tyne Idol's a company in the northeast who put on different buses in the tour around the northeast, and this was a punk one, and I was performing on it, and Bev was
I was also with my friend.
You were actually on the bus with a friend, and we got introduced by a mutual friend in a band, and we realised we had a lot in common, music influences, and Bev told me she was a punk poet, which I was really interested in, and you hadn't done gigs for quite a few years. And I heard some of her material, and I really liked it. I thought, wow, we've got to get back out there and hear, people have to hear these words. And then Bev's idea again, she said we should write together, which I thought was unusual, and we gave it a try, and it's just snowballed from there, really, hasn't it?
So did you write years ago and then sort of make a comeback? Is that what's your history?
So probably about the mid-90s I used to do a lot of performance poetry. I've always written, so it comes very natural for me to write poetry. But I used to be very shy about sharing it, and then I tried it out with a few friends, and then it was like open mic night, comedy nights at the Square. So that was my first ever gig, and it was just like standing there like this, the fear of it all, and also because it's, when you write, you're quite, you're exposing yourself, you're exposing your viewpoints and your feelings, and it's quite a difficult thing to share. And so from that, I just started doing lots more gigs, and I played at. There was quite an interesting article actually in the Harlow Star in about 2000. It was. I did a solo gig at the Mayday Families in the town park, and because some of my poetry can be a bit controversial, a bit challenging, there was a few complaints written to the local paper about it, and I thought that was quite interesting.
So I got a bit to as well.
Yeah, I got a bit of notoriety, and I replied to that.
As we say in the business, better read than dead.
No, it was a very interesting letter that somebody felt that I was offensive and biased and bigoted and things like that. But
And
that's,
were you offensive and biased and bigoted?
of course I was. It was my own words. But I was writing about the bigots. I was writing about those, you know, things that are controversial and everything like that. And I think sometimes people don't like to hear it. And so I still kind of bring that in now. So I used to do a lot of the comedy circuit then. I used to support John Cooper Clarke as well. I used to play with him in Birmingham, Norwich, all over the place. So, and then I think I just kind of, started to lose my confidence in it. I was having a few bad gigs. It was just getting a bit, and then I had a baby as well. And I just kind of thought, maybe I can't do this anymore. And I kind of gave up for a while. But it was a long while though I gave up. So, and it's only just recently I've come back into it.
And Peesh, how did you get involved in music?
Well, I grew up with music around my house from as long as I can remember. My parents were big music fans. My dad was sort of the edgy, he liked The Who, the Beatles, the Stones, Sex Pistols, whereas my mum liked the Beatles, Kinks, Monkeys. So I like pop and hard edge rock and punk stuff. But I played drums from when I was 14 to about 23, 24. So I was covers band, playing drums, and then just wasn't enough. I wanted to be a bit more creative, and I started writing. So it wasn't until my late 20s where I actually started performing in a band, singing and playing, writing my own stuff. And then much later, even just recently, just started solo acoustic performing, which is completely different. So I've always wrote alone, but now this is when me and Bev collaborate. It's different, so it's a different angle completely. You know, sharing words and collaborating. It's something I wasn't used to. So it's pushing something new and exciting. You know what I mean? And challenging.
And how do you get this film will appear on YouTube and on Facebook and on Twitter? And how do you embrace social media and getting your message out there?
Yes, I think you have to, because if you don't, you're kind of dead in a way. As much as as much as I like social media, I kind of don't like it as well. You know what I mean? But you have to play the game, because they're great platforms. You know what I mean? You click in an instant, your song's out there, and you can get thousands of views instantly. Well, hopefully, but yeah, you just have to use it, don't you?
Yeah.
Really, in this day and age.
Bands come, music come, bands go. But is this a career, or are you just following things as you go? Where are we going with this?
Well, we didn't even think we'd get this far, really. We tried out. I mean, it was a poem I'd written called Punk Mum, and you just strummed along to it, and we thought, that works, that really works. And every time we just collaborate and do something else, we're thinking it works. We had one gig, and from that one gig we were offered a spot at Rebellion Festival. It was just like the way things are growing, we're getting such great support, and I think because we are very different, so we're absolutely loving it. We'd love it to be our full-time job, of course we would. But and I think it's just, I don't know, we're very, very passionate about what we do, and we tour and travel so much. We don't have any spare time left for our families or anything. We're just always travelling.
So when was your last gig?
Last night.
Last
Last night in London.
How did that go?
Brilliant. Really, really lovely. We've promoters were coming up, giving the cards and everything, saying, will you come and play here? And it's like, I think because we stand out, because people were very surprised when we go on stage. They're thinking, he's got an acoustic guitar, this won't sound much, but it's very powerful. The style he plays as well, very, very challenging ways of playing it. And there's my loud mouth going over spoken word, and very challenging lyrics as well. It's not certainly no Pam Ayres.
And this is a Sunday, but when's your next gig?
Wednesday in Newcastle.
It's a lot of travelling.
Yes.
It
so
is,
we're going back up to the northeast today. We're in the studio all day on Tuesday as well. So we're practicing some new stuff. And we've got to finish writing some stuff as well that we're working on, so we're going to have that. And then Wednesday night we play at a spoken word club called Born Lippy in Newcastle.
Well,